So this is a review of a Lego knockoff, and I originally recorded this video twice. Once as a sort of reaction opening up the box, but unfortunately that video kind of failed, so I decided to go ahead and re-record it again, only to realize maybe I should just build it and review it after the fact. And that's exactly what I did. My mind has kind of been changed on it in a few ways. So, without further ado, this is something I actually bought at the Dollar Tree. I know, kind of crazy. Not something I would usually pick up, but on occasion, I like to keep my eyes out for interesting pieces, sometimes recolors, sometimes interesting proprietary pieces, like this one here, which I found a handful of years ago in one of these very sets. A yellowish color. It's not quite Lego's yellow, but it's pretty close, and I think you could get away with swapping it out. The consistency, the quality of that piece is pretty good, and in fact it came with another really cool Technic piece, and the quality on that was pretty good as well, though the axle was a little tight. Of course, I would prefer it to be too tight than too loose, but you get the point I'm getting at. And so I decided to pick this one up today, not because of any Technic interest in here. There's really nothing Technic to speak of, but rather because of this Boulder right here. If you're familiar with this piece, Lego makes it and has made it since at least the 1990s, like this one here, which came with the original Pohatu all the way back in 2001. I also know I did not really cover this piece in the deep dive series. That's for a separate reason, and it'll come up later. But the point is, I saw what was on this box. I saw that it was this original faceted design, and I was like, I really want to get my hands on one of those in light bluish gray of all things. Now, since I knew the yellow didn't match, I didn't have high hopes that the color was going to match, but what I saw surprised me, because it's not so much the color, but the mold. You could see that the facets on this are geometric in shape, rather than being sort of haphazardly placed like they are on the official Lego piece, and what is shown on the box is this haphazard style. Now, that's not necessarily a bad thing, it still looks very cool, honestly, and you could just as easily probably find something similar to this on construction sites where it might be used as a counterweight or other things, right? This sort of concrete mass, essentially. So this looks a lot more manufactured by humans, whereas this looks a little more like something you'd find in nature, if that makes sense. Not bad, as I mentioned, but the color here is unfortunately proprietary as well. It's too dark to be light bluish gray, but it's also too light to be dark bluish gray, somewhere in between, maybe leaning just a touch closer to the light bluish gray. It's possible that a hydrogen peroxide bath or maybe even bleaching will lighten this up and bring it closer to Lego's color, but I don't know. And it is significantly more blue, at least from what I can tell. That said, obviously you do still get a pretty cool Boulder piece out of the set, but something else that you get is this cone here in orange which has an axle hole on it as well. And the axle hole does work. I've not yet tested the bar hole at the top, so I guess I'll do that really quickly with a Lego wrench, and it works just fine. The clutch power on it is very good, in fact. I use that wrench because, well, I'll show you why in a moment. So, the set says that it comes with 34 pieces, and that it did, although it was missing a piece, it did also come with an extra piece. Interestingly, the largest possible extra piece for this set came with an extra one of these, which is not a bad thing, especially if you're a kid that wants to build with larger mass, right? Larger land area. And you can actually go to these Dollar Trees and buy like base plates and things for $1.25 is not a bad price, right? So to see something like this, something so large, something so generous in its size, not bad. But as an extra piece, there's no guarantee you will get one. The piece that it was missing was the base of a lever, this piece right inside of here. So you can see there's just one lever here. There's supposed to be two. Also, that lever is a bit more loose than Lego's is. It did still come with the top half of the lever because it does not come assembled, as Legos often do. But where I have the problem is with one piece specifically. I'm going to go ahead and pull this off very quickly. You can see that on this set we get this crane arm too. You also get this hook in black, and though there's really no friction on that, I guess that means that's technically not a frictionless joint, and that could be useful. You also get these lovely hinges on here, which are honestly tighter than Legos are, except for this base. That's a problem. So what's interesting is when I look at it compared to the fingers on these other hinges, it is noticeably thinner than it should be. And I just have to assume, since there's only one of these in here, that that probably holds true for all of these pieces that were manufactured by this company. I can't know that, but why would the mold be any different? Unless it was updated with time, who's to say? Of course, I could try testing it with an official Lego piece, but who knows if it's the fingers that are off. Maybe the outside pieces are a little too thin or something along those lines, right? And so because of that, you're just really not going to get any use out of this, or at least it's not going to hold a position. Is a kid going to care about that? No, I don't think so. I think a kid seeing something like this, 34 pieces or whatever for $1, it'll still give them plenty of play, and they'll be fine holding that piece up. I don't even know if they'll know that that functionality is missing, per se. Maybe they'll think that it's honestly intentional. Although I will say a kid will probably have some trouble getting these pieces together because those hinges are pretty tight. I had a bit of a struggle, and so I have to assume with my bigger hands and my leverage that a kid is probably going to have a little more of a struggle. But that said, it does go with this piece here, so you can hook onto it and carry it around. But as I said, there's no friction, or rather, there is friction on that hook, so it's not going to like dangle for very long without falling. I guess you could twist the hook the other direction. On that, you do also get these green grass-like pieces here, though they do seem to be the same size as Lego's accessory connection plant pieces, so it's possible they work with Lego flowers. I will test that, and if they do, that's actually not a bad thing, because there are a bunch of these little barbs in here. I think there's at least, what is there, 9, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. There's 10 of them. And that's obviously more than I think any Lego version of this piece has, or version of a piece similar to it, right? On top of that, these pieces are also quite large. I have not tested them with Lego clip pieces yet. They look to be a little bit thinner than a bar, so I don't think they're going to connect with Lego pieces, although I will have to test it, obviously. Still, that's a pretty significantly sized piece for a set of this price, and you also get a ladder here too with the, bar that it's connected to. So overall, I think it's an okay deal for $1.25. Anything more than that, I don't think I would get it. In terms of interesting pieces, you may be able to use the seat here in this reddish brown kind of color. I don't know how close that is to Legos. I haven't tested it against Legos. They do make this piece, but I think it's a little bit more rare than, getting a set for $1.25. And on some of these sets, or at least some of these pieces, you may see the actual, what is that? Is that their, I was going to say I thought it was their address, but it's not their address. It's just the name of the corporation that manufactures these bricks specifically. So that can be a bit annoying. I'm sure that there's a way to wipe it off. Maybe I can get it off with my thumbnail in enough time, but I'm not going to try. It actually feels like it's almost etched into the surface, though, so who knows? And the reason that I brought that wrench out, too, is because this set does not come with a minifigure, but I have bought a set from this brand before that did not show a minifigure on the box, at least not that I recall, but it does have a minifigure with it. In this case here, you do get a shovel piece, which is their own proprietary mold. It's a rounded tip shovel with these edges on it. It's kind of nice looking, honestly. Again, that light grayish proprietary color. But in the past set that I bought, you also got this wrench piece here. And that is different from Legos because that is a bar connection and not a stud connection like the official Lego piece here. So that's interesting. Both have bars on the other end. Both of them end in a taper. Honestly, probably the exact same. I'm sure that they just copied this for the most part and slightly modified it. But the length is different. The off-brand wrench is quite a bit shorter, maybe half to a full module shorter. So I have seen some really interesting recolors from this set, or from this brand rather, and I will continue to keep my eyes out for pieces. Maybe there'll be a video in the future where I look online and try and see some interesting recolors from sets like these. So hopefully you guys enjoyed this video. I know it's a little different from what I typically do. I have plans to do other videos kind of like this, not for this brand specifically, but I do believe the thing I plan on checking out is made or manufactured at least by the same company. Not positive. Won't know until I get the pieces. With that said, I hope you enjoyed the video. And if you did, make sure to leave a like and subscribe. And let me know your thoughts on this brand. If you've been to Dollar Tree and seen this, or been elsewhere and seen this, have you picked any of them up? And what are your thoughts? You can let me know that in the comments, or take the conversation further over on Discord. Check out the Instagram or Patreon if you want to help support the channel and videos like this. I'll see you all in the next one. That's all in the description. Take care.